So have you heard of this thing called PredictIt? PredictIt.org. It's a website. And basically you can bet on politics and current events. And the idea is that usually that's illegal in the United States because we're sort of Puritans about that kind of thing, as with many things. Um, but if you're doing it for research purposes, there's sort of a loophole, and so that's what they're doing. And it's a totally legitimate, really, as a research tool. Because man, can you learn a lot from prediction markets? Like that's a very useful thing, making people put their money where their mouth is on their predictions and letting people like think about that and try to make money off of people with different predictions in them. I mean, it's just so on another level from just pundit talking heads on TV who can just blather on and say whatever, and when they're wrong, there's no consequences. They're invited on again next time. Whereas this makes you can still spend money to try to push it in your direction. You can lay a big bet on something, and then the odds will move in that direction. But you got to spend money to do that, and you're also giving people an opportunity to make money off of your mistake. Essentially, if you take it to a level that people don't think is reasonable, they can put in money and pull it back. And so it's pretty good. Like I participated in it a little, and the lesson that I learned is that with my level of ability to predict political and world events and what have you, I can't beat the market. I think I'm pretty good at that. I think I'm much better than most people at that. But I do not think that I am better at it than the aggregate that is created by these prediction markets. And so now the main way that I use it is not to gamble because that's just pouring money down the drain for the most part, but to learn, but to be like, I wonder what the chances are of that happening. Let me go check on PredictIt. That'll give me an estimate. And I'll still think, I think it's probably a little higher than that. I think it's probably a little lower than that. But it's a really good way to get the sort of, educated, willing to put money on it consensus about something that you could be basing your opinion on. If your opinion is dramatically different from the opinion that comes up there, lean up, buddy. Go put your money on it and make some money. Or else maybe you'll be wrong and you should have been focusing more on learning from what they were predicting there. Go check it out. Use that as your tool for knowing what's going to happen in the future. Or if you think you can beat it, go ahead and try and help make the predictions. That's the beauty. That is how it works. And so I was looking at, for example, the odds of the Democrats and Republicans being in control of the House or the Senate coming up after the 2018 midterm. And it was something like a 27% chance that the Democrats would take the Senate. So, only a little over 1 in 4. And then something like a 60% or low 60% chance of them taking the House. And then there's some tiny sort of overlap little scenario of like, they could take the Senate, but not the House. But I mean, really in terms of how these, the wave or not works, if they take the Senate, they'll definitely have taken the House. Like that's pretty clear. And so basically what we're looking at is something like a 1/3 chance of the Republicans keeping both houses, a 1/4 chance of the Democrats taking just the House, a 1/4 chance of the Democrats taking both houses themselves, and then what's left in between the Democrats taking the House but not the Senate. And so I don't know. I think that intuitively makes sense to me. I think I may have given somewhat better numbers for the Democrats on that. But then I think that's my predictive weakness is wishful thinking and thinking that things that I hope happen and that are fairly likely to happen are more likely than that to be true. So yeah. So this is what I'm saying. So I buy the prediction market. That's my. If you ask me what the odds are of those things happening, that's the odd breakdown that I would give you. Um, so yeah, really, no matter where you are on the political spectrum or anything, just if you care about this kind of thing, if you want to preview what's going to happen in the future, I really highly recommend that you check it out. And in any of these sort of videos, I definitely am likely to reference that. I'll say, oh, I saw and predicted this and that, and it probably won't be that hard to understand in context, but handy just thing to be aware of in this crazy world that we have. Peace.